So I'm wondering, are you a bit like me? Do you like to read stuff and watch stuff that helps you get better at being a business person, increasing your mindset and the tools and techniques that you're able to use? Well, I am the same in that bracket. And I read this morning from a book called Proverbs, which was written about 200 years before the Romans settled. And that would have been a time when it was a heavy agrarian society. They didn't have motor vehicles, obviously, so I think they had carts and crude farming implements like plows and the likes. And here's what I read. See if you can get your head around this one. Where there are no oxen, the manger is empty, but from the strength of an ox comes an abundant harvest. What on earth is that all about? So you have to have a bit of a think about what it was in those times. If you had oxen, then you were fairly wealthy. You were richer than the average person. So that's one thing to recognize. Now, if you didn't have oxen, you had an empty manger. Now, an empty manger is probably symbolic of the fact that there's no oxen poop everywhere and there's no feed everywhere. It's just a nice clean area. That's one of the things that I thought, well, that's similar to why I love doing industrial properties and industrial businesses. I love walking around the premises and feeling the grease and seeing the dust and seeing the metal filings and seeing the machinery working. That would be the equivalent of what the oxen was, 200 years before the Romans, because that would indicate hard work. You would be, driving that team of oxen, you would be ploughing the fields. It was essentially one of the first businesses around. And in that aspect, it was a hard business. It wasn't a soft sort of type money lending business in those days. You'd be sweating, you'd be toiling, you'd be working your muscles, doing hard, honest labor. And the result of having oxen and having ploughing fields, either your fields or other people's fields, would indicate that you're going to get revenue from harvests. You sell the goods, so really, to have an oxen was like the first type of business or an early business. So there's a lot of relativity in that. And you have to be careful when you quote things from the Bible, and the book of Proverbs is from the Bible. A lot of people take things out of context and make it, bigger than what it is. I think if we just kept this at a simple term, and if I looked around the people in my building, for argument's sake, I've got the top floor, they have a business. Second floor, I'm not sure she's retired, don't know what her background is. The floor below that, they had a business, they were farmers. The first one was in petroleum industry. Next door has a farming interest as well. I live in rural, regional sort of Queensland. Prior to that, they were shopping centre owners. And downstairs, we've got a retired defence couple and a lady who is a business manager at school. So probably half the building has actually, got experience in running businesses. What I'm not saying is that you need to have a business. I'm just saying that in instances where you have a business that, is hard work and a little bit messy, you're going to find prosperity because it symbolizes putting effort into it. There's one other technique that we use when we read the Bible is we don't look at things in isolation. We have a look at how what we've just read, so in this case, the prosperity from running a team of oxen and having a messy manger, and you look for something else that either affirms or runs with it. And I found that also this morning in another proverb from Solomon. Now, Solomon was a very wise man at that time. All hard work brings a profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. So the hard work leads to profit is reinforcing the point of the oxen. And interestingly, it really nowadays is a world that, particularly in my industry, I get a lot of people with talk. They're going to buy this business, they're going to run this business, they're going to look for passive income, they're going to look to do this, they're going to look on the other side in regards to sellers. Yeah, the business has got great opportunity, or they're going to make these changes and they woulda, coulda, shoulda. The world is a lot of that. And the people who are the talkers generally quite often are the ones who aren't going to be rich. Whereas the ones who are working hard in whatever endeavor it is, be it a business or be it in your own employment, as a job, those who work hard are the ones who get prosperous and get ahead. So, yeah, just a simple sharing of what I read this morning. Solomon was a very wise man, had lots of wise sayings in Proverbs. And even though it was, 200 years, I think the Roman Empire was about 200 AD, so 200 years before AD. So about 2.5 years, 2,500 years ago, the knowledge that was written in those times was still good. So I encourage you, read things to help develop your skills and get a better understanding and reaffirm what you're doing. And don't be someone who just talks about business. Be someone who works hard at doing it. All right. Take care. God bless.